Hey guys, Rip the Rage here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. And this is a video that's going to be very serious. And this is a video that needs to be made. And this information needs to get out. So, the title of this video is going to be named very appropriately. So you should already know what this video is going to be. But today we are going to be talking about net neutrality. And I've seen other people break it down very quickly and say that, this new net neutrality law is going to be a bad thing. The Restoring Internet Freedom Act, as they're calling it, which is fucking bullshit. This is not restoring any sort of internet freedom. This is just bullshit. But we're going to go through it, and I'm going to break down exactly why it's bullshit. Now, this will most likely be a very long video, and we will see. I'll try and summarize some parts, because there's probably going to be a lot of legal jargon in these bills, and a lot of, quid pro quo, and a lot of words that are unnecessary to the conversation, but have to be in there for legal reasons regarding how bills are passed. But let's see here. So, this is S993, the Restoring Internet Freedom Act, and this is going up for a vote soon. And regarding this, and the FCC will have to vote on this and see if it's in any regard. So, why are they doing this? Why is this act coming up now? Why are they saying, "Oh, we need the Internet Freedom Act"? Why do we need it? Okay, let's see. Well, according to this in the text, S993 is to prohibit the Federal Communications Commission, that will be the FCC, from reclassifying broadband internet access service as a telecommunications service, and from imposing certain regulations on providers of such service. So, the way broadband internet access is treated now is nobody is allowed to, let's say I think I have Comcast or Xfinity or somebody. I'm not really sure who my internet provider is. I know it has something to do with Xfinity. I'm not sure who the parent company is, but Xfinity. Let's say Xfinity decides, okay, you're using YouTube to watch these things, or you're streaming the music from here, but we offer this service through our cable package. So we don't want you going to these sites. We want you going to our sites, or not going to any sites and just going on and watching TV, which I don't want to do. So what do? Well, they slow down all of my internet access to make it to where I can't get any entertainment other than to watch their cable. Or, if I want better internet access, they then go, oh, well, you're going to have to pay us more. We can't just give you more access, even though it's completely possible and easy to do, and it's already there. That it's the same thing that applies to sort of saying with cable packages, right? So if you get a basic cable package, you don't get all the sports and this and that and the upgraded DVR and all this. There's certain things that you don't have access to. And that makes sense because those are extras. Those are not standard in the package. That's not a standard package. You have to pay a little bit more to get the higher package, to get those channels available to you. Even though technically those channels are already there, right? And you should be able to access them, but they're being locked off behind a paywall. So with this, it's different because in that regard, they are offering a service, but offering it in certain ways. In this, they are currently required by law to do nothing to your internet. All they can do with your internet is provide it. Like the power company provides electricity, the water companies provide water, and so on and so forth. They cannot do anything to your internet. They can't slow it down, they can't speed it up. They can't do this, they can't do that. It has to match with other cable providers. Now, can it be faster? Yeah. Can it be a little easier to set up? Sure. But it can't be, they cannot restrict your access to the internet in any way, shape, or form currently. What this bill would do is say that broadband internet access is in fact not a telecommunication service. So it's not the same as phone. It's not the same as, it's not the same as a municipality. It's not the same as electricity. It's not the same as other services. It is different. And since it's not telecommunications, it's its own entity that, shut up, phone, that would result in the cable companies and the internet providers being able to say, oh, well, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, give me more money, and oh, this video on YouTube is causing me problems, or this whole website is causing me problems and making my and showing the problems with my product, or they're offering too much competition. You know what? I'm just gonna slow that site down. Nobody wants to be on that site anyway. So that's basically what this bill is doing. But let's continue here. In the Senate of the United States, this was published May 1st, Mr. Lee, for himself, Mr. Corn, Mr. Cotton, Mr. Cruz, so Ted Cruz is in on this, fuck Ted Cruz, Johnson, Paul, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Sassy, and Mr. Inhofe introduced the bill, right? Which was read twice and referred to the Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation. So we've already been over the to prohibit part. So Section 1, short title. This act may be cited as the Restoring Internet Freedom Act. This is, okay, yeah, we get that. And then, let's see. Section 2, limitation of authority of the FCC. Here's where it gets fun. The rule adopted by the Federal Communications Commission in GN docket number 1428 on February the 26th, my apologies, on 2015, relating to broadband internet access service, shall have no force or effect, and the Commission may not reissue such rule in substantially the same form or issue a new rule that is substantially the same as such rule, unless the reissued or new rule is specifically authorized by a law enacted after the date of the enactment of this act. And so the rule defined in this section, the term rule is the meaning given the term in section 8.4, blah, 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 blah. We know what rules are. Okay, so it shall have no force or effect. So basically they look at GN docket number 1428 and they say, yeah, that doesn't matter anymore. It's completely null and void. And if you want to bring that bill back and you want to do it, they say, no, you can't bring that bill back. And if you bring back a bill that's completely similar to that, that is very similar to that, you can't bring that back either, unless you pass another, you somehow get another law passed us when we already have majority control, and, you know, if we get all these guys on our side, we say, fuck you, and basically block your bill, even though it's a fucked up situation, guys. So they cannot reissue GN docket number 1428 in its original form, in a slightly altered form, unless they write a whole new law that forces them to then put that back in, right? Which we've seen how easy it is to pass a fucking law. All right, so they're referring to GN docket number 1428. Now, this is a very short text here. This is, you know, I'm not sure if this is a summary, but this seems pretty straightforward, right? It doesn't seem like they've got actions and titles and other things. You know, this is all just legal jargons. So we have some co-sponsors here. I'm going to leave that up just so we know who's who. But what are they referring to when they talk about GN docket 1428? Well, they're referring to this. So this is from the FCC. It is the report and order on remand, declaratory ruling and order, blah, 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 blah. See, a lot of legal jargon. This has to do with broadband internet access, internet traffic exchange, non-biased data service, reasonable network management, enforcement of the open internet rules, background, designing an effective enforcement process, complaint process, enforcement dispute resolution, blah, 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 legal authority, blah, 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 blah. A lot of stuff that, and this whole bill basically boils down to, you can't be an asshole with your internet service. Now, if you look over here on the right, this bar, this is a very large bill, okay? So you get all the way down here. Now, we're going to go to the important sections of the bill because, again, there's a lot of legal jargon in there that nobody fucking cares about and nobody wants to hear and is only in there for the sake of the sake of legality on the Hill. So what do we care about? Well, we care about a few things in this bill. So table of contents is clear, bright line rules, no unreasonable interference or unreasonable disadvantage to consumers or edge providers. So let's start with Section 2A1. Section 2A1. That's Section 1. Section 2, A1. I'm sorry, I haven't read bills before, so forgive me if I can't navigate this insanely good. Okay, so let's just start with the executive summary. The benefits of rules and policies protecting an open internet date back over a decade and must continue. Just over a year ago, the DC Circuit in version 5, FCC struck down the Commission's 2010 conduct rules against blocking and unreasonable discrimination. But the Verizon... Oh, did I say version before? I'm sorry, I meant to say Verizon. I can't speak today. But the Verizon court upheld the Commission's finding the internet openness drives a virtuous cycle in which innovations at the edges of the network enhance consumer demand, leading to expanded investments in broadband infrastructure that, in turn spark new innovations at the edge. The Verizon court further affirmed the Commission's conclusion that broadband providers represent a threat to internet openness and could act in ways that would ultimately inhibit the speed and extent of future broadband deployment. Threats to internet openness remain today. The record reflects that broadband providers hold all the tools necessary to deceive consumers, degrade content, or disfavor the content that they don't like. The 2010 rules helped to deter such conduct while they were in effect, but as Verizon frankly told the court at oral argument, but for the 2010 rules, it would be exploring agreements to charge certain content providers for priority service. Indeed, the wireless industry had a well-established record of trying to keep applications with a carrier-controlled walled garden, quote unquote, in the early days of mobile applications. That specific practice ended when Internet Protocol created the opportunity to leap the wall, but the Commission has continued to hear concerns about other broadband provider practices involving blocking or degrading third-party applications. So, we can stop there. We do not need the rest of this bill. That is all you need to understand what GN Docket 1428 is for. It is for you. It is for me. It is for the crazy... There's a guy. Here's a little anecdotal evidence for you. There is a guy that I see every time I go to class. I have to drive up 200. And every time I'm on that road, I see this dude who's got a million right-wing Trump signs. Now, I don't like the messages on them. They're not vulgar, they're not insane, but they're just kind of they're untrue, they're infactual, they're opposing views to mine. But I respect his effort to demonstrate his First Amendment right of free speech. I am not about to go over there and tell the guy, hey, fuck you, I don't like you, kick him in the nuts, and then burn all of his signs that he has hanging up on his fence. I'm not going to do that, because I have the right to say what I want. He has the right to say what he wants. And the threat to net neutrality is the same threat as the threat to the First Amendment. If you cannot find comparisons to how, if you can't see how net neutrality protects the First Amendment on the internet and how corporations could easily just roll over any dissenting opinions or views with their own propaganda, then you are a fool. But if you are a fool, that's fine. Let me educate you on how that would happen. So let's say let's go back to their fancy little title here, the Restoring Internet Freedom Act. Oh God, name it appropriately, you fuck. But the Restoring Internet Freedom Act, what would this do? Well, that takes away everything that we just covered in GN Docket 1428, which says that consumers would be put at a disadvantage when getting goods and services from these internet providers and from these companies, right? Because the companies hold all the tools to giving that kind of content out and allowing that kind of access. So, what do we have if we don't have that? Well, let's say Restoring Internet Freedom Act gets passed. Okay, so that means that rule is gone. GN Docket 1428, gone. There's no more protection for the consumer, and there's no more net neutrality. That means Comcast, Xfinity, Cox, Spectrum, I'm trying to name all of them here, all of the internet providers in this country could then say, you know what? I don't like this one guy. I'm going to go and slow his service down. I don't like this guy. I'm going to slow his service down. Oh wait, I like this video. I like this website. It's helping me with my propaganda. I'm going to speed it up. So, if you did that, now on the low end of that, on the absolute low end of that, would be, I'm slowing your service down to force you to pay more money to get your service to go back up, right? And then after that, I leave you alone and you can go wherever you want, but you have to pay me more. That is the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, which is the more likely scenario, is we are the corporations, we want to make money, and we don't give a damn about your freedom of speech. We don't give a damn about anything that is not our propaganda. So we are going to indefinitely slow down everything else that has nothing to do with us and that which we do not control, right? So then the only things you can access are things that put us in a favorable light and make us out to be the good guys. That would be compounded even more if they get guys from the Hill, so left, right, whatever, Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter what side they're on, if they team up with those people and say, oh, I'd like this new bill in, and if you can put this new bill in for me, I got the hookup when it comes to ads. I can slow down the ads of let's say, let me throw out some names here: Ted Cruz and Cory Booker, right? Republican, Democrat. They're running against each other for 2020. I don't know, for some reason, and Comcast could then say, oh yeah, so as long as you promise to do what I tell you and pass this, that, and the other law, then instead of just giving you money for your campaign, I'll be your campaign. I'll slow down all of Cory Booker's ads. I'll stop all of that shit in its tracks to where the information can't get out, and then I'll prop you up. I'll make sure everybody, every time they log onto the internet, on a phone, on a laptop, on a desktop, in any capacity, all they ever see are ads of how good you are, and they never see the bad. And I will help you win. And when they win, what happens? Well, they turn around and they do the bidding of of what would have been their donors, but in this case, their overlords, their buddies, their partners in crime, right? And I just threw out Ted Cruz and Cory Booker as an example. I'm not, going one way or the other. I don't like either one of them, but that's just an example of what will happen if net neutrality is repealed. This is why we need this. So, that has been the legal part of it. That has been the why of it. Now let's name and shame a bit so people understand who is at fault for this bill coming to light in the first place. Well, you can thank the let's see, I'm not sure if the R's here stand for Republican or... Okay, yes, the R's in fact do stand for Republican. As you see on this little side here, there's 11 names here, and 11 of it's Republican. Okay. So, the R here does not stand for representative, it stands for Republican. So, you can thank Senator John Cornyn from Texas, who is a Republican. Senator Tom, all of these are senators, so I'm not going to say senator anymore. You can thank Tom Cotton, Republican of Arizona. Ted Cruz, Republican of Texas. Ron Johnson, Republican of Wisconsin. Rand Paul, right, Republican of Kentucky. Tom Tillis, Republican of North Carolina. Ben Sasse, not sure how to say your name, Republican of Nevada. James M. Inhofe, again, another name I don't know, Republican of Oklahoma. James E. Rich, Republican of Indiana. Pat Roberts, Republican of Kansas. And Pat Toomey, Republican of Pennsylvania. Pretty sure it's Pennsylvania. Yes, Pennsylvania. Okay, so here, I did get all of them right. Yay me, I know my states. Alright, so, you can thank all of these Republicans. Now, this is a nonpartisan issue. Whether you're left or right, it's going to affect you. But I wanted to just go ahead and point out something interesting from this bill. This bill was co-sponsored by 11 Republicans. The guys that are supposed to be about freedom and liberty. And these are the guys that say, well, we can't have universal health care. We can't have single payer because that's the law overstepping its bounds. We have to repeal Obamacare, or the actual name of it, the Affordable Care Act, because it's overstepping its bounds, and we can't have the government doing that. That's the government overstepping its bounds. We can't have gun regulation because that's the government overstepping its bounds. We can't have this. You see what I'm saying? So they're so about deregulation that they've made a law. They've made this fucking Restoring Internet Freedom Act trying to deregulate the fucking internet. What the hell is wrong with you people? Seriously. I know it's wrong. Every single one of these guys got elected because their fucking ads were paid for by the goddamn cable companies, knowing that, hey, if we get these guys in, they will pass this bill for us. They will get this in. I say no. I say no. Okay. I'm going to link in the description 2 videos that you guys also need to go watch that probably explain this a little better. I went more in depth with it than they did, but now that you can see this video and know what this video is, I don't have all the resources to tell you guys where to go to talk to the FCC or to contact your representative or anything, but they do. Those videos are from Boogie2988 and from Total Biscuit, the Cynical Brit. And those videos will be in a link in the description for you guys to see. So they have, and in their in the descriptions of those videos, they have all the links for all that stuff. I'm gonna go back and look at those links and go basically on an email spree. But yeah, that is net neutrality in a nutshell, gentlemen. That is what these 11 men want to do. Is they want to take away your freedom. They want to take away your access to certain sites on the internet. They want to dictate to you in the land of the free. They want to tell you where you can go, what you can look at, what you decide to spend your time doing on the internet. And if you don't, well, fuck you. We got paid by the cable companies, so we don't give a dick about representing you, and we don't have to because we're these guys. Blah 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 blah. If this happens, if this law goes through, I guarantee we will dive straight into, that will be the very first step in a very short amount of steps to Orwell's 1984. We will live in a dystopian future where the government controls everything, and the few people that do fight back get put down as rebels and get killed. And if you dissent or you disagree, you will be killed and you will die. Okay? It won't happen immediately, but if this net neutrality law goes through, if this Restoring Internet Freedom Act, it will happen. Do not kid yourself. They are not representing you with this act. They are representing themselves and the interests of their donors and the interests of corporations that own the cable companies, that own the access to the internet, and they're trying to deregulate it so those guys can line their pockets and they can take control of what you see and do online. Anyway, that is it for this video. I did not want to make this video. I wish I didn't have to make this video, but hopefully you will see this video and it will spark interest and you will take some initiative, as I am going to do. Anyway, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I can't even do my outro. Fuck it. This is too serious for me to even do my outro. Just go and please go to those links in the description. Please check that out, and please fight back against this Restoring Internet Freedom Act bullshit. This is wrong.